Saeed had always felt a strange disconnect, a sense of not quite belonging. It was as if the world around him wasn't quite real, like a dream he couldn't wake up from. The people he met, the places he visited, even the air he breathed had a subtle, unsettling artificiality, as if everything was part of a grand design he couldn't comprehend. He spent his days lost in thought, observing the mundane routines of life with a detached curiosity, trying to find meaning in the seemingly meaningless. The rhythmic ticking of the clock on his wall, the familiar scent of his morning coffee, the predictable patterns of traffic outside his window, they all seemed to reinforce his doubts, making him question the authenticity of his experiences. His life felt like a perfectly orchestrated performance, lacking genuine spontaneity, true feeling. Every action, every moment seemed preordained, devoid of real emotion. One evening, as the city lights flickered on outside his window, Saeed found himself drawn to a book he hadn't touched in years, a relic from a time when he still believed in the world around him. It was a collection of philosophical essays, exploring themes of consciousness, reality, and the nature of existence. The words seemed to speak directly to his soul. As he delved into the complex ideas, a strange sense of recognition washed over him, as if the book was articulating thoughts he had never been able to express. The words on the page resonated with his own unspoken suspicions, giving voice to the unease that had simmered within him for so long. It was as if the book was a mirror reflecting his innermost fears. Was it possible, he wondered, that his world was nothing more than an elaborate illusion? The thought lingered, haunting him as he stared into the distance, lost in contemplation. The insistent ping of his laptop startled Saeed from his contemplation. He had been lost in thought, pondering the complexities of his day, when the sound broke through his reverie. It was an email notification, but not one he recognized. The sender's name was unfamiliar, and the subject line was even more perplexing. The sender was simply "The Architect," and the subject line read, "Curious to know the truth?" It was as if the email was speaking directly to his innermost curiosities. Intrigued and more than a little apprehensive, Saeed clicked on the message. His finger hovered momentarily over the mouse button, a slight hesitation before committing to the unknown. The email was short and cryptic. It offered no clear answers, only more questions. "If you are truly ready to see beyond the veil of your reality," it read, "press enter." The words seemed to challenge him, daring him to take the next step. If not, simply ignore this message and continue with your day. The choice was his, and his alone. The cursor blinked steadily at the end of the message, a silent invitation beckoning him towards the unknown. It was almost hypnotic, drawing him in. Saeed stared at the screen, his heart pounding in his chest. The room seemed to close in around him as he weighed his options. Could this be the answer he had been searching for? The solution to the enigma that had plagued him for so long? Was this the opportunity to finally unravel the mystery that haunted his every thought? The chance to see beyond the ordinary and into the extraordinary? The architect, the truth, the veil of reality. These words echoed in his mind, each one a key to a door he had yet to open. A surge of adrenaline coursed through him, a mixture of fear and exhilaration. This was it, the moment of decision, the threshold of a new journey. The weight of the decision pressed down on Saeed. What if this was a prank, a cruel joke? What if it was some elaborate phishing scheme? His rational mind screamed at him to close the laptop, to walk away before he did something foolish. But a deeper instinct, a primal curiosity, urged him forward. His entire life he had felt this nagging disconnect, this suspicion that things were not as they seemed. Could he really ignore this chance, this opportunity to finally understand the truth? He pictured himself in the future, looking back on this moment with regret. He knew he could never forgive himself for letting fear dictate his actions. He took a deep breath, his finger hovering over the enter key. With a mix of trepidation and anticipation, Saeed pressed the enter key. The effect was instantaneous and disorienting. The familiar warmth of his room dissolved around him, replaced by a blinding white light. He felt a strange sense of weightlessness, as if he were floating in a void. His senses overloaded, bombarded by a cacophony of sounds and swirling colors. He tried to cry out, but no sound escaped his lips. Panic surged through him as he struggled to grasp at something, anything, to ground him in this swirling chaos. Then, as abruptly as it began, the chaos subsided. He found himself standing in the center of a vast, empty room, the floor, walls, and ceiling a seamless expanse of white. As he stood there, trying to make sense of it all, a voice boomed through the emptiness, reverberating off the walls and filling the space with an eerie presence. It was neither male nor female, but a disembodied voice that seemed to emanate from the very air itself, as if the room itself had come alive to speak to him. "Welcome, Saeed," the voice said, its tone devoid of any discernible emotion, yet carrying an authority that was impossible to ignore. "You sought the truth, and now the truth is revealed to you." Saeed's mind raced, trying to grasp the enormity of what he was hearing. "Who are you?" he managed to stammer, his voice sounding small and insignificant in the vastness of the room, echoing back to him. "Where am I?" "You are within the framework," the voice replied, "the very fabric of your reality, a construct designed to contain and control. And I am the architect, the one who designed this world, your world," the voice continued, each word sinking deeper into Saeed's consciousness. Everything he had ever known, everything he had ever experienced, was nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion, a facade hiding the true nature of his existence. The world outside, the people in his life, the memories he held dear, all of it was artificial, a digital fabrication, meticulously crafted to keep him unaware of the real truth. As despair threatened to engulf him, a new thought emerged from the depths of his being. Was it truly meaningless? If he felt emotions, if he experienced joy and sorrow, love and loss, did it matter if those experiences were real in the traditional sense? The architect had shown him the truth, the mechanics behind the illusion, but it was up to Saeed to decide what that truth meant to him. He realized that reality, at its core, was nothing more than a matter of perception. His experiences, his memories, his relationships, they were all real to him because he had lived them, felt them, believed in them, and in that sense they were no less real than the digital code that underpinned his existence. My choices, my feelings, my perception, that is what defines my reality. The blinding white faded, replaced by the familiar warmth of his room. He sat up in his chair, the glow of his laptop screen illuminating his face. The email from the architect was still there, a tangible reminder of his journey beyond the veil. He felt a strange sense of peace wash over him. He had stared into the abyss of simulated existence and had emerged on the other side, not broken, but transformed. He now understood the truth, the illusion that underpinned his reality. But he also understood that this truth did not diminish the value of his existence. His life, his choices, his relationships, they were all still meaningful. He closed his laptop, a small smile playing on his lips. He was the master of his own perception, the architect of his own reality.